Let's get started. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Um, we've got people chatting. Great. All right. So, welcome. And if this is your first time meeting me, I want to start out by sharing a little bit about myself. A lot of you are here because you joined in on the recent Essential Oils Transformation Summit that happened just this past fall. That was such an exciting event. We had over 100,000 people join in. So many amazing lessons learned, and people walked away. I got so much great feedback from people saying, "Thank you. I feel so much more empowered now to use essential oils. I feel more knowledgeable about how to use them to take care of myself and my family." And that's exactly what this is all about. So, if you missed the summit this past fall, I'm really excited today to share with you all some of the biggest takeaways that I personally got from the summit, as well as some of the takeaways that, because of the feedback I received afterwards, I thought were just really important to share with everyone. So, if you're new around here, just a little about myself. I'm Samantha Lee Wright. I host the Essential Oil Revolution podcast, which is the world's #1 essential oil podcast out there. So if you're a podcast fan, if you want to search out the Essential Oil Revolution podcast, you can find over 200 episodes where I interview experts from around the world about essential oils, about health and wellness. And that's a great way to learn more in-depth information about the essential oils that we all love. I also hosted the recent Essential Oils Transformation Summit. And then my sort of other career is in the childbirth world. So I work with moms, I work with families throughout pregnancy, childbirth, and beyond. And I'm a mother and wife myself. And as a mom, I find it extremely important to be proactive about my health and to feel confident in my ability to keep myself and my family really well. And that's not always easy. After the birth of my first baby, I really struggled with postpartum depression. I felt completely out of control of my emotions, out of control of my health and my life. If you've ever been in those shoes, my heart goes out to you. And I think that we all find moments in our lives where we just feel out of control. I didn't feel equipped to really be a strong mother for my baby. And I just really can't think of any worse feeling than not feeling capable of showing up 100% for the people you love most in the world, right? So it took me a really long time after that to regain my confidence in myself. And a huge part of that was essential oils. Not only did they help me heal from my emotions, but they also were just so easy and so immediate, right? I'd never experienced anything that just so quickly um, affected my mentality, my mood, and that made me just feel like I can do this, right? And I used to think, I mean, I've always been into natural wellness before, but I really used to think that natural wellness meant teas and tinctures and smelly poultices and all these really complicated herbal remedies or really expensive remedies or practices like ongoing acupuncture or ongoing chiropractic care. And all those things are wonderful, but essential oils is what really opened me up to a whole new world of natural remedies that to me were just, as a mom, as a busy person, felt so much more approachable and easy to implement on a day-to-day basis. So now I love empowering others by educating them about how to use these powerful tools. So I'm so glad that you're all here to learn, and thank yourself. Thank yourself for taking the time to be here. As I say on my podcast at the end of every episode, you are worth it. Okay, so you're worth the time to be here to learn this information. So let's dive in. So, the first takeaway that I really got from the essential oils transformation, and part of this was because of what was happening during the summit, but a lot of it also was what was happening behind the scenes, the emails I received, the messages I got. And one of the overriding themes of all of that was just the fear, the fear surrounding the use of essential oils. So, my biggest takeaway, number one, was don't buy into those essential oil myths out there. I want to know in the chat box, let me know who here has ever been afraid to try something new because of, a sensational blog post or a friend of a friend who says, "Oh my gosh, don't do that, it's dangerous." And let me know too, have you ever been afraid to use essential oils because of something maybe you've read on the internet or something that someone said to you? So, my biggest takeaway really was you cannot let the fear around essential oils stop you or prevent you from using them. And I've seen that happen time and time again of people being so afraid of essential oils that they don't use them at all. And to me, that's so sad because I think people should feel empowered to use natural solutions, feel empowered to make health decisions for themselves, for their family, and feel confident enough to use the gifts that nature has given us. Essential oils are the gifts of nature's, albeit they are very strong, concentrated gifts of nature. So we do need to be wise. We need to know a few basics. But beyond that, it's really not that complicated. Some of the myths that were completely dispelled, thanks to one of our summit guests, Jen O'Sullivan. I want to break down just a few examples. One is the myth of ingestion, right? There's a myth out there that essential oils are under no circumstance safe to ingest. So she completely debunked this. She went into, first of all, the fact that everyone in the world is already ingesting essential oils. Every time they eat basil, fresh basil, or drink Coca Cola. Coca Cola is the world's number one purchaser of essential oils on the planet. It's part of their formula, it's in gums, it's in any raw food you eat. You are consuming the essential oil of that plant. The difference, of course, is in the amount and the concentration. So it's a little different when we take that essential oil out of the plant and we extract it and we put it in a bottle. But once you learn the basics and the safety, it's completely safe to use. There's a short list of essential oils out there that are not safe to ingest. One of them being wintergreen is a very common one, but those that list is pretty easy to find. And really, at the end of the day, read your label. If you are reading an essential oil bottle label and it says "Do not ingest," do not ingest it. So that was one myth that she really broke down for us. Another myth out there, and this is just an example of how kind of crazy the internet can get with this kind of stuff, is there's a very common myth out there that lavender and tea tree oil will grow breast tissue in boys, right? And even just saying that out loud, I bet some of you right now are going, "Oh my gosh, I better stop using lavender on my little boy," right? Or using tea tree oil on my little boy. But this myth has been debunked time and time again, yet it still persists because of sensationalized um, blog posts and internet pages out there. But example she gave was that tea tree oil is the number one essential oil used in Australia. Back in World War I, I believe it was, tea tree oil was actually put in the army packs of all of the soldiers. So that they could use it on the battlefield. So much tea tree was being used. I think that if it had that effect on men, we would have seen a lot more of that. So that's takeaway number one. I'll move on to takeaway number two here in a minute. And I just want to say I see some questions coming up on the Q&A. I meant to say earlier, I'm going to hold questions till the end. So I'm going to go through the top 10 takeaways and then I'll open up to questions. All right. Takeaway number two, there's no right or wrong. Just focus on what works for you. this really ties into that first takeaway I was talking about, it about not letting fear really get in the way of you using essential oils. So if you came to the Essential Oils Transformation Summit, I want to know in the chat box, tell me, did you catch the talk with Jade Schutz? She's one of the leading teachers at the New York Institute of Aromatic Studies. Jade Schutz, one of my favorite talks. We talked a lot about the history of essential oils and why it has become sort of this divisive topic between what I call, natural holistic health lovers. You get in a room with a whole group of people who love natural remedies and love holistic health, and you start talking about essential oils. It's one of the only modalities that tends to really stir up a lot of conflict between those people. And I used to think going into this, like, oh, well, those people are just wrong, right? I'm right, they're wrong. And it's really not about that at all. And once you learn to change your perspective a little bit about the use of essential oils, you really start to become more confident in your own innate ability to use essential oils for you in a way that feels right and safe. So she talked a lot about the sort of history of essential oils, and there was a point in the history where we sort of split between, you could simplify it and say we split between the French modality of use and the British modality of use. And the British sort of took essential oils and just really focused on the aromatic property of essential oils, the smell, the scent, the perfumery. Um, and the French really took essential oils and started studying and using them much more on sort of a medicinal level, internal usage, heavy usage, that kind of thing. So this split sort of happened. And as history became more and more removed from that root split, it became sort of a divisive topic. So there's a lot of essential oil users out there. There's a lot of certified aromatherapists out there that are taught from a philosophy that essential oils should only be used in certain ways. And those certain ways are much more conservative than ways in which another group of certified aromatherapists who may have studied under a different philosophy or modality might use essential oils in a way that's a little more liberal, a little more heavy, right? And both groups are right. It's not about being right or wrong. So, kind of tying this along with takeaway number one, I really want to empower you guys to do what works for you and what feels right for you. If using oils internally doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. If using a drop of oil undiluted on your skin doesn't feel right to you or doesn't work for you, you break out in a rash or something, switch it up. You have the power to use essential oils in the way that works for you. And you need to be willing to try things out and listen to your gut. And I would highly recommend to avoid getting in any sort of internet debates or in-person debates with people who disagree with you. Just acknowledge, I understand that's your philosophy and that's your viewpoint. I'm going to use them in this different way. All right. Takeaway number three. I loved this theme that we developed during the Essential Oils Transformation Summit about how to get more with using fewer essential oils, kind of learning how to use the oils that you've got around. You can really get away with just a few, maybe a dozen oils, give or take, and you can get major results from using those oils. So give me a shout out in the chat box here. Talk amongst yourselves as well. If you've ever felt like, gosh, I need to buy so many more oils, I just don't have enough to get the results that I want. I'm guilty. I have felt that way many times because I love looking up oils in my research guide or my reference book and seeing all these oils listed and going, oh my gosh, I don't have that oil. I don't have that oil. And it can be kind of defeating, and you tend to want to give up and just not use anything at all, right? So shout out if you feel me, if you've ever felt that way before. Well, it's just simply not true. Essential oils are so versatile. They're so adaptogenic. And by that, I mean they go into your body and really figure out what your body needs, that you can get such great results from just a small set of oils. Now, I do want to say, because this question has come up to me from people emailing me and whatnot, that they've said, you know what? I've used this set of oils to, let's say, help me fall asleep really quickly. And they've worked so well for months and months and months. But lately, they just don't feel like they're working anymore. That's the point in which you want to switch things up. Switch things up, try oils that you've already got in your arsenal. And if that doesn't work, that's the point where you may want to purchase a new oil, because your body can get used to an oil after a while, to a point where you're just not going to get the same results. And that's the same with anything in life. You can't eat the same foods every day. You can't take the same supplements every single day and expect to get the same results. You need to switch things up, kind of like probiotics is an example. Taking the same probiotics that have the same strains in them over and over for years, it's probably not going to be as effective as switching up your brand of probiotic, or switching up the kinds of strains of probiotics that you're taking on a day to day, or like maybe every month or so. So I don't have an exact number to tell you, 1 month in, 2 month in, that's when you need to switch up your oil. I think it comes back to those that second takeaway. You have to do what works for you. Listen to your body, and if you don't feel like you're getting results anymore, that's when you switch it up. But I want to go over just a few of the essential oils, pun intended, that one of our summit guests, Tiffany Turkzak, shared. She had a presentation. I think it was titled 10 of the maybe cheapest essential oils and how to use them. So it was a really great list of oils. So I took some of my favorites out there just to give you an idea of how powerful just a small set of essential oils can be. Number one, lavender. Of course, lavender really is the jack of all trades when it comes to essential oils. It calms stress. It has a gentle effect on pretty much everyone. It's great for sleep. It's great for hair. It's great for skin. It's great for emotions. It's great for first aid. Once I burnt my hand on a frying pan, and I took lavender oil, put it right on my burn, and within hours, it felt like almost a miracle cure. It was amazing. So it's a really great first aid oil to have around. And I say, if ever in doubt of what oil to try for something, use lavender. The second oil she recommended was lime essential oil. So lime, if you don't know, is a amazing weight loss oil. So if you're on a weight loss journey, we know New Year's is right around the corner. If you're on a weight loss journey, put lime in your oil lineup. It is such a great oil, and it's very affordable as well. In fact, all the citrus oils are very affordable. And just smelling lime essential oil has been known to help the body induce fat burning. Just smelling it. How amazing is that? It also has a great flavor. So we'll talk a little bit more about kind of cooking and flavoring using essential oils. But I'll throw out my margarita popcorn recipe. Is so much fun. If you ever pop your own popcorn, add a few drops of lime essential oil in there as you're popping, and you can make a great margarita flavored popcorn. And then lime, as well as all the citrus oils, are great for stress as well, stress management. Um, Lemon, she mentioned, great for gut health, digestion, detoxing, cleaning. I love cleaning around the house with lemon oil. Peppermint, great for pest management, digestion, cooking, boosting your energy. I mean, wake up first thing in the morning, throw some peppermint in your diffuser, and you will feel so much more awake. And those are just 4 of the oils she recommended. And if those are the only 4 you have around, you can do so much with just those oils. All right. Takeaway number 4, you can use essential oils for everything. And really, I've kind of known this about essential oils when I really started learning about them, but I think it was after I had done the summit when I realized, oh my gosh, we didn't even get to talk about XYZ, right? There was so much more I wanted to talk about. And even with my podcast, we have over 200 episodes, and I'm still finding new topics to talk about, because essential oils can be used for everything. There's really not a single situation that I can think of in the world that essential oils can't benefit or help with in some way. So, just a few of my favorite examples from the summit. We had a whole talk about pregnancy. Pregnancy and essential oils go together like peas and carrots, I say. The midwife, Lindsay Mealish, shared some great stories. She's been on my podcast before as well to talk about cypress essential oil, for example. Cypress essential oil during the third stage of labor after the baby's been born. It can be so amazing for helping encourage a woman's uterus to really do its job and be life-saving to some capacity. Clary sage is amazing for women's hormones, pregnancy or not. And it's safe for healthy women in pregnancy, in birth, despite the controversy out there. That's kind of going back to takeaway number one: don't let the hype and the fear worry you. Clary sage is very safe for healthy women in healthy pregnancies. Nausea, you can try spearmint, peppermint, ginger. So that's just a taste of how essential oils can be used for pregnancy. Then we had someone on to talk about oils for yoga and how amazing tapping through your spiritual self through the sense of smell has such amazing results. We have different energy points in our body called chakras, and each chakra can be tapped into using different essential oils. So if you have a spiritual practice, if you have a yoga practice, if you do anything in the realm of chakras or energy work, essential oils should be in your toolkit. For example, black spruce oil, great for the root chakra. Put it on the bottom of your feet or put it on your lower belly. Black spruce oil is so grounding. It comes from the earth. It's got this deep smell that's so beautiful and rich. She talked about vetiver as well, great for the root chakra. So that's just one example of how oils can be used for so many different situations, even in the bedroom. One of my favorite speakers of all time, Lucy Libido. She's been on my podcast. She was a part of the summit. I'm actually going out to LA soon to speak at one of her events as well. Her book is called Lucy Libido, A Girlfriend's Guide to Using Essential Oils Between the Sheets. I was skeptical at first when I saw, oh my gosh, are people actually using essential oils in the bedroom in that way? Not only does that sound dirty, but it sounds kind of scary and dangerous, right? But it's actually so much fun, really effective, and I can't recommend her book enough if you're interested in really spicing up the bedroom. I'll just share two of her recipes she shared during the summit. One was her inner thigh potion for women: 20 drops ylang ylang, 20 drops cypress, 5 drops lavender, 5 drops clary sage, and 25 drops of a carrier oil. So if someone that wouldn't mind typing this into the chat box, I'll say it one more time a little bit slower. So the inner thigh potion for females is 20 drops ylang ylang essential oil, 20 drops cypress essential oil, 5 drops lavender, 5 drops clary sage, and 25 drops carrier oil. So this is an inner thigh potion. It just goes right on the inner thigh, kind of from the panty line down. And if you ever struggle with kind of getting in the mood or feeling like you need a little support with your fun hormones there, that's a great inner thigh potion to use an hour before bed, or really throughout the day if you would like. So those are just 3 really fun examples of how oils can be used for everything: pregnancy, yoga, in the bedroom, but I can think of so many more. I would love for you in the chat box to share with me what are some examples of essential oils that you've used in maybe different kinds of situations that people might not think about using oils for. And while you guys are chatting it up over there, I'll move on to takeaway number 5. Dilution is safer and more effective. So dilution, this is kind of a hot topic, but I don't think it needs to be a very hot topic. Here's my take on dilution. And by dilution, I mean taking an essential oil and mixing it with some sort of fatty based carrier oil before applying it to your skin. So there's, 2 ways you can use oils topically: neat, like NEAT, as in not diluted, just essential oils straight on the skin, or diluted, mix it with a carrier oil first and then apply it to your skin. So dilution doesn't need to be complicated. At the end of the day, dilution is always going to be the safest route and it's going to be the most effective route. That is not to say that you have to dilute 100% of the time, though. I find myself applying essential oils neat all the time. In fact, right before this webinar, I was, needed some grounding. I was kind of nervous. There's a lot of people on here. So I took my cypress essential oil and I just put a drop on my wrist. It's just faster, right? I didn't feel like mixing it with a carrier oil. So I dropped it right on my skin. I do that very often. It's fine. But at the end of the day, if you're using essential oils a lot, or if you have sensitive skin, or you're just worried about maybe a sensitization happening, then dilute your essential oil. It's very easy to do. I will share in a moment a dilution ratio chart because I know a lot of you are kind of confused about dilution and what's the proper way to do it and whatnot. But before I do that, I'll just share some of my favorite carrier oils include fractionated coconut oil or just regular coconut oil. Fractionated coconut oil is just liquefied coconut oil, so it's just a little easier to use it. But regular coconut oil works just fine. Almond oil, jojoba oil, you can use olive oil in a pinch. And the way I do it is I tend to not mix up a lot of my essential oils in big batches in advance. Instead, I tend to just make a little cup in my palm of my hand, add maybe a teaspoon of a carrier oil, and then right in the palm of my hand, drop in 2 to 3 to 4 drops of essential oil, and then swirl it together with my finger and then apply from there. I like to keep things really simple. But if you are more of an exact science kind of person and you really want to know kind of what the quote unquote proper dilution ratios are, I want to share a little bit more context for you. So I'm going to open up this slide from one of our summit guests who talked all about dilution. So, and I want to kind of preface this is a more sort of conservative, here's the quote unquote right way to do it. If you can tell already, I don't really play into that. I think that there's a lot of gray area when it comes to essential oils. I'd rather you slap on some oil, mix it with what you feel like is enough carrier oil, and get it on your body. But here is a guideline to go with. So if you're using on young children, pregnant women, breastfeeding, elderly, if for any reason you're like cautious about, I don't know if essential oils are going to be too much for this situation, use a 1% dilution ratio. If you're using on older children, adults with chronic issues, or daily use, a 2% dilution ratio. 3 to 5% for more short-term acute issues, or maybe like a muscle rub or something like that. So first sort of determine what dilution ratio you feel comfortable with using. And then from there, I've got this other slide to share with you a little more context. Here we go. So here is how to create those dilution ratios. The green numbers are how much carrier oil you'll use. And then under that, it'll tell you how many drops of essential oil to use. So these come from lovingessentialoils.com. She was a guest on the summit. And I really thought that this was a good guideline for those who, as I say, like to follow all the rules. And so you'll get to know, you start to learn sort of how much carrier oil your body needs depending on the situation. So I hope that answers a lot of those frequently asked questions about how we use carrier oils and essential oils. I want to add as well an interesting fact about diluting essential oils. Why I say that it's more effective is for 2 reasons. One is that essential oils are very volatile, as in they evaporate very quickly. So when you put an essential oil on your skin, it kind of tends to evaporate off your skin kind of quickly. But if you mix it with a carrier oil, and then apply it to your skin, the oils, the molecules are trapped in more. They're less of them will escape. So more of them are going to absorb into your body, into your bloodstream, and they're going to absorb into your body a little bit slower, which is sometimes a good thing. If you want sort of a gentle, slow, over time, you know, mesh into your body. So that's one reason. Another reason is that when you mix essential oils with a carrier oil, it actually gives the molecules of the essential oil more room to breathe. Kind of imagine these essential oil molecules are packed together so tight. There's so many tiny, tiny molecules in just one drop of essential oil. So many molecules, so tiny that it's actually one of the only substances known to be able to pass the blood-brain barrier. It's a big deal. Only tiny, tiny, tiny substances can do that. So all these little molecules crammed together, when you put them in a carrier oil, give it a gentle swirl, and you're really opening up those oils to be able to breathe a little bit better, and they're going to be more effective. So that's my takeaways about dilution, and I hope that helps. All right. One other takeaway that was very unexpected for me during the Essential Oils Transformation Summit was this connection between gut health and parasites and essential oils. We had, I think it was 3 out of our 30 guests who really just, they wanted to come on to talk about parasites and gut health. And at first I was like, well, I don't know how much that has to do with essential oils. But through those talks, it was Jay Davidson, Jonathan Otto, and Todd Watts all mentioned aspects of this gut health parasite connection to me that really stood out. I don't have time to get into all of those details, but one of the essential oils I want to encourage you all to go research a little bit more surrounding gut health, parasites, and whatnot is blue tansy oil. I love blue tansy oil. I'd always thought of it more as like a cosmetic essential oil, really great for skincare. You know, if you have any sort of skincare regimen or cream that you use, add a little blue tansy in it. It's just so great for your skin. It's also great for the emotions. It's one of my favorite oils for just calming down. But it's also apparently a great essential oil for adding into a parasite detox regimen. There's been apparently some research done on hookworms, roundworms, applying it to the abdomen and belly button or liver area. So a lot of stuff I'd never heard before from some of our guests that I thought was really interesting. But overall, my takeaway was if you're dealing with any sort of autoimmune disease, Lyme's disease, obesity, brain fog, so often these things can be linked to parasites. And this is just so sort of looked kind of glossed over a lot, I think, in the Western medicine world. So, and that needs to be addressed first. So, if you want to learn more about parasites and gut health and whatnot, I highly recommend you go back to the summit and check out Dr. Jay Davidson's talk on this subject. And it's going to help you learn so much more about parasites and gut health. I'll throw out too another one of my favorite essential oils for overall gut health is lemon essential oil. Using it just a small amount, maybe a drop or two a day in your water, I think is so great at really stimulating your whole digestive system. All right. Takeaway number 7. Um, Common uses for paleo, candida, GAPS diets, and more. I loved learning this little factoid. So, who here is on a special diet? And you know, tell me what it is. Are you paleo? Are you vegan? Are you candida, GAPS? There's so many different diets out there, right? Let me know. And then also let me know, how much do you struggle with cutting out juice from your diet? Not all diets out there make you cut out juices like orange juice and things like that. But a lot of them, especially candida, GAPS, keto, you're not allowed to have those sugary juices, right? But you still want the flavor sometimes in your food. So I loved one of our guests, Lindsay Dietz, who shared some great cooking recipes using essential oils, because essential oils don't contain the sugar. They don't contain the protein. They just contain the flavorful essence of that. So if you're on a diet and you're not allowed to do orange juice or lime juice or lemon juice or any of those things, use the essential oils instead in your cooking, and you can get all the flavor without the sugar. But then also using essential oils for cooking. I know that in candida diets, a lot of people who really struggle with candida or any sort of yeast fungal infection in their body, they have to cut out a lot of dried spices and herbs when cooking, because dried spices and herbs, when they sit on the shelf for pretty much any length of time, can become very susceptible to retaining mold spores or fungal spores. So a lot of people have to cut that out, and they can't even use, thyme or oregano or cinnamon in their cooking. So if you are on one of those restricted diets, put essential oils in your kitchen and use them while you're cooking. It's one of my favorite ways to use essential oils. It tastes so good and it's so easy. So quick rundown on cooking with essential oils is just less, 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 less is more. You only need a tiny bit of essential oil to get a massive amount of flavor. So if you're afraid that one drop is going to overpower your dish, take a toothpick, put a drop of oil on your toothpick, and then swirl that toothpick around your dish, and then go from there based on taste. But some of my favorite recipes to use is lemongrass essential oil. I'll add to my rice or my soups or my curries. I'll add black pepper oil to many dishes, peppermint to my brownies, orange oil to my waffles. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So it's really a no-brainer and a great solution for people who are restricted in using some of those things to flavor their cooking. Takeaway number 8 was never underestimate the power of emotional healing. This was a really common thread throughout the summit of people talking about health, talking about essential oils and how they could help each other, but how you really need to sometimes start with the emotional healing. So, I've talked so far about kind of more maybe straightforward, if you want to call it, uses for essential oils. But I want to encourage you all to think of your emotions as the catalyst for true healing on so many levels. And there's nothing better out there for emotional healing than essential oils. One of my favorite talks was with Amy Lee McCree during the summit, who talked a lot about your mood and essential oils. Essential oils are provoking. They have a way of really waking the mind up, waking the body up, waking the emotional centers up, and clearing things on a really deep level because they're aromatic. They invoke memory. The space in your brain that houses aromatics, that processes aromatics, is the same part of your brain that stores memory, that works on the subconscious level of your body. So aromatics can be incredibly powerful as a catalyst for helping heal some of those emotional traumas that we might not even realize are there and that are definitely contributing to our overall health. So for example, citrus oils, orange, bergamot, orange, lime, grapefruit, lemon essential oil are so uplifting. So anyone out there who's struggling with just a little bit of the blues, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of feeling a little kind of worn down at the end of the day, crack open some orange oil, man. Put it in your diffuser. Such an easy thing that you can do and so uplifting. Amy Lee McCree also talked about different areas in the body and different organs in the body that can literally store our negative or unhelpful emotions or traumas. So using essential oils to help release those traumas that are literally being stored in our organs and attracting bad health to those areas can be helpful. One example she gave was lemon oil to target the kidney, which the kidney is a space in our body that can hold a lot of fear and anger. So applying lemon essential oil just over the kidney areas can really help release some of that gunk, as I call it, that emotional gunk in there. Because emotions can act like magnets for dysfunction to those areas. That's something that Amy said I'll say it again because I loved it so much. She said, emotions can act like a magnet for dysfunction to those areas in the body. So it might take a little bit of researching or a little bit of experimenting. Always encourage people to experiment with this, but using different essential oils on different organ parts of the body or on the bottom of your feet that might correlate to those parts or those organs. And you can, kind of look up charts online about different organ spots on your feet, and playing around a little bit and just feel what happens. I was in a massage the other day, and she started working on this part of my shoulder, kind of right behind my heart, and she was really working on some dysfunction that was in there. And I just immediately started bawling like a little baby. Had never been so embarrassed in my life. I was just like, oh my God, what did you just do? Because I just completely started crying and bawling just because she was hitting this point on my body that was making me just release those emotions. I couldn't put words to it. I couldn't explain to you why that was there or whatnot. And I think that we can get kind of caught up in, the why behind things. Sometimes we just have to trust, what, my body's telling me that it needs to release in this part. And so do it, release. And so I got home and I pulled out cypress essential oil. Cypress essential oil is known to really induce memories, to help bring out some of those negative emotions that might be holding us up. And I played around with it. I inhaled it. I put it over my heart. And it was just a really wonderful moment of self-care and self-awareness that I had. So there's lots of information if you want to learn more about essential oils for emotional healing. We've probably talked about that at least 50 different times with 50 different wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experts on my podcast, The Essential Oil Revolution. So if you go to my podcast website, revolutionoilspodcast.com, and do a search for emotions or emotional healing, you'll find so many great insights into that topic. Takeaway number 5. I love this. Tell me if you agree. In the chat box, just give me an amen if you agree that essential oils are not a magic bullet. They are a lifestyle. They are about embracing toxin-free living, embracing clean living, avoiding chemicals. They're about healthy emotions and stress reduction. They're not just focusing on the physical. I mean, we know that essential oils have really powerful physical benefits, but it's not just about focusing on one thing. It's about the overall picture. I love on the summit, Jody Meschuk, if you caught her talk about her journey of helping her son heal from autism. Her son was diagnosed with autism, and through so much research and education and empowerment, she really stood up and took charge of their whole family's lifestyle from them. She looked at, well, how did this happen? Why did this happen? She started learning about gut health. She started learning about toxic chemicals in her home. And she really overhauled so much of that. Essential oils weren't the only tool that she used, but they were a huge catalyst for helping her open up and realize, oh my gosh, like I've been using this, household cleaner that's been contributing to our toxic load. Oh my gosh, I haven't, my son's had upset tummies since he was a baby. Maybe I should look at feeding him some more probiotic rich foods and nutrient dense foods, So, in so many of the journeys that I heard, Susan Hyde's journey of recovering from autoimmune from her lupus diagnosis, essential oils played a huge role for her, but it wasn't just the essential oils. They're not a magic bullet, but they are a huge, huge catalyst for change in so many people's lives. Susan Hyde, again, one of our summit guests who recovered from lupus. I love that before she became, the essential oil sort of queen that she is now, she had no reference for healthy living. She did drive through and drank, Diet Coke every day, and use the most chemically laden products in the world. And it was really not until she got started using essential oils that she started opening up to, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about these things that I'm putting in my body, right? So I love that. I love that sort of magic that essential oils can happen for some people, that helps them walk through that door of self-awareness, self-care, and using essential oils in those different ways. And then here's the other truth that comes along with this. After the summit, I received so many emails from people. And I love that. I love hearing from you guys. But one of the themes I kept seeing over and over again was, hey, Samantha, I'm struggling with XYZ. What oil's good for that? And I understand that question. You know, I'm struggling with diabetes or Alzheimer's or ADHD. What oils do I use? So here's the deal. I like to be totally transparent with you guys. Even if I knew the answers to your questions and could, even if theoretically I could say, oh, use lavender for that and it'll cure you instantly, even if I knew that that was the case, legally, I can't say that. Legally, I cannot play doctor. Legally, I cannot describe essential oils as if they are medicine. This is a huge issue that we have when it comes to a lot of people don't understand that even though we live in an era of free speech does not apply to playing doctor. And I think there's some good things that come along with that. And I think there's some challenges that come along with that as well. So that's why it's very hard pressed to find anyone out there really who is gonna tell you, oh, you've got lupus, use this essential oil, right? You've got this scary looking mole on your skin, use this essential oil for it. So here's the deal, guys. It's okay. You need to empower yourself. Get yourself a good reference guide. Get yourself a good essential oil reference guide. Y'all know that I predominantly use Young Living essential oils. And so there are reference guides written out there specifically for Young Living essential oils and those blends. If you have a brand that you love, see if there is a guide out there specific to that brand. Or if you use lots of different brands, find yourself a guide that you feel like is gonna give you the tools that you need. So one of my favorite places to shop for really specific education around health and wellness is Life Science Publishers. So their website is discoverlsp.com, or if you Google Life Science Publisher, then you can find so many great tools. I also love a website called oil-testimonials.com. If someone's listening and can put that in the chat box for me, that would be great so people can find it. It's oil-testimonials.com. It's a free website. You just have to create an account, but it's totally free. And you can go on and literally search for anything that you want to know, what essential oils to use for what, and you will see stories upon stories upon stories of people who have gone on and shared their stories of what has worked for them. So at the end of that takeaway, I want to sort of reframe that into reminding you that, again, essential oils are not a magic bullet. They are a lifestyle, embracing them on a day-to-day basis. But if you want those pointed suggestions of what oils to use for what, go out there, find yourself a good reference guide. This brings us to our last takeaway, and then we're going to get to questions here in a minute. Essential oils are one of the most amazing and effective tools to reduce your household toxins. And I leave this as the last takeaway because it's the one that I'm so passionate about. I love teaching people how to really take charge of their homes and make their homes into like an oasis for themselves, because that's what it should be. Essential oils are so wonderful at reducing the toxins in your home, because every one of us is struggling with a toxic load that is way higher than it should be. We have in our bodies 30 to 50,000 more toxic chemicals than our grandparents ever had. Our grandparents had 30 to 50,000 less chemicals in their body than we do, just because we're born at this date and time, and chemicals are everywhere, in everything, in the air, the water, the products we buy. They are unescapable. But the one place that you have the power to lessen that toxic load is in your home. And I've had countless people say once they started switching their cleaners, switching their face creams, switching their lotions, switching their dish soaps and their shampoos and and really become aware of the chemicals that are in these products, they have noticed such amazing health transformations from just that one step alone. So we know that you're all working so hard to live healthy lifestyles. You're taking supplements, you're exercising, you're eating right. So don't let your toxic load be the thing that holds you back from the progress that you're trying to make. You have such control over what you allow into your home. You can vote with your dollars, or you can make things yourself. And we talk a lot about different recipes and DIY things that you can do on the podcast. I talk about it a lot if you follow me. I love to give different recipes, but if you're ever unsure and you want to know, I wonder if there's a way I can use essential oils to make a bathroom cleaner or a kitchen cleaner, go on Pinterest, go on Google. There's really no one perfect recipe for these things. If you're using a good quality essential oil and you're following someone's recipe, give it a try. Just give it a try, see how you like it. Essential oils are not toxic to your body so long as you use them, in a halfway decent amount. Don't drink a whole bottle of essential oil. You'll be okay. And it's such a great way to lower your toxic load. Chrissy Chin and Kate Dobler were both guests on the summit, and they gave lots of different DIY cleaning recipes and different ideas of how to really reduce the toxic load in your environment. So, with all that being said, I want to open up the floor for questions here in a minute, but I want to share with you all something that I'm doing coming up here in a short while, and it's completely free. And we're calling it the 5-Day Essential Oils Reboot, because there's literally thousands of different ways that you can use essential oils. And if you're like me, I can find things to be a little overwhelming. It can feel a little complicated or overwhelming to get started. And some people feel like they have to buy every oil on the planet, right, to get started with essential oils. I thought, what if it wasn't so complicated? What if it was easier to get the benefits from essential oils? So, in the new year, for all of you who want to make some sort of New Year's resolution around your health, I'm hosting a free 5-day essential oils reboot to help you use essential oils to get your energy and your life back on track, because essential oils are just so great for doing those things. So, each of the 5 days during this completely free challenge is going to feature just a small, easy habit using essential oils at different parts of your day to do different things like improving your mood, improving your energy, your vitality, your sleep, and more. So, most of these tips can take about 2 to 5 minutes to complete. But once you know them all, you can experience the benefit of essential oils throughout the entire day. This challenge really focuses on the practical, simple, easy use of essential oils. And there's 2 different tracks for this upcoming challenge. If you're brand new to essential oils, we'll have a way for you to really easily get started without having to own every oil out there. And there's also an advanced track. So if you've been using essential oils for a while, you use them every day, we're going to share with you some advanced tips that'll help you get even more benefit from the oils that you have. So join us for the 5-day challenge, and you'll get access to a private Facebook group where you'll connect with other people who are using essential oils to upgrade their health and life, and me. And then each day during the 5-day challenge, I'm going to do a Facebook Live to share my new essential oil hack for that day, and sort of encourage you all to do that and to implement that little change in your life. Changing your habits, even the small fun ones using essential oils, can be really hard. So we're going to send really fun, inspirational text messages and reminders for each day of the challenge to make sure that you tune in and stay on track. We're all going to cheer each other on during this really fun 5-day challenge. So you'll be really surprised at what just 5 minutes a day for 5 days can do for your health and your well-being. The 5-day essential oils Reboot challenge starts on Monday, January 6th. So we've got a little bit of time. I know New Year's Day is right around the corner. So I wanted to give you all a little bit more time to join in with me on that challenge. So if you want to join, again, it's completely free. I'm just doing this because I really felt like I needed a reboot, and I love doing, New Year's challenges and reboot challenges, any sort of health transformation. It's just more fun with friends. So I wanted to invite you all along that journey with me. And if you join now, so we don't start till January 6th, but if you join now, you can go ahead and start with our bonus challenge that's already there ready to go about getting a better night's sleep using essential oils. So you can sign up now by going to essentialoilsreboot.com. If someone would be so kind as to put that in the chat box, that would be great. And in there, you'll have waiting for you, ready to go bonus challenge about how to get a better night's sleep using essential oils. Get to know the group a little bit. And then on January 6th, we're going to start in with just 5 minutes a day, really simple essential oil hacks for better health. So I hope that you'll all join me for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And now I will open up the floor for questions. All right. Thank you all so much for joining in today, by the way. This was just so much fun. I'm really glad that we were able to share all these takeaways. So if I can just figure out how to open up the Q&A box, I might have to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And, so many questions. Okay, let's dive in. Woohoo. All right, so I'll go through as many questions as I can, and let's do it. Okay, Joyce says, do essential oils go bad? Is there a shelf life to keep in mind? Great question, Joyce. So essential oils should not go bad. If you're using a good quality essential oil, that is to say it's an essential oil that has not been adulterated somehow with synthetics, or has not been pre-diluted in some sort of fatty-based carrier oil, or some sort of strange laboratory, I don't know, synthetic something. That's very common for manufacturers to say, oh, I can sell this bottle of rose essential oil, put 5 drops of actual rose essential oil in there, and then fill the rest up with some sort of synthetic whatever. The essential oil itself, if it's truly a pure essential oil, should not go bad. But oftentimes, if it's a bad quality oil, the carrier oil part will spoil. So that's another tip. If you're into making your own products, if you're into DIY and your recipes involve using some sort of carrier oil, keep in mind that the shelf life of that, once you've mixed the essential oil in with that carrier oil, that it could spoil. Now, we know that essential oils have some preservative effects, but just to be safe, you want to make sure that you're not letting your pre-mixed things sit around for, I'd say, more than, I don't know, 6 months or so. You can refrigerate them and whatnot. You do want to keep your essential oils away from direct sunlight. You want to keep them away from extreme heat and cold. Those things can really alter the molecules in your essential oil to make them less effective. And I don't know if you could call that being spoiled or not, but I wouldn't recommend putting them in direct sunlight or extreme temperatures. And also just make sure that you store your essential oil bottles with the lids on really tight, because any sort of leak in that seal can make the essential oils just slowly evaporate over time. Janet says, will you email us the dilution charts? They're not mine. I did ask Jennifer permission if I could share them, and she said yes. But since they're hers, I'd rather refer you to her website, lovingessentialoils.com. Thank you, Julie, for answering that. And see if you can find those there, or you can contact her and say, hey, I saw your talk at the summit, or Samantha talked about your dilution charts. They're great, and ask for them that way. Let's see. Joanne says, I didn't catch the whole list of the top 10 oils. Could you repeat those and their uses, please? So I didn't mention 10. I think I only mentioned 4. just for time's sake. So, and I have done many talks on sort of top 10 essential oils. So if you find my YouTube channel, if you go on YouTube and just search Samantha Lee Wright, you should be able to find a few things like that. I also have a podcast episode about that. If you go to revolutionoilspodcast.com, you can search, top 10 or top oils and find some great info there. But I did talk about lavender, lemon, lime, and peppermint. I won't repeat that, but I will send the replay out. So if you want to look at that section again, hopefully that will work for you. Is it safe to diffuse oils if you have asthma? That question comes from Debbie. That is a really great question. I think that this is going to come down to your comfort level and which oils you're using. Some oils have a more stimulating effect on the respiratory system. So this is kind of one of those answers where I can't give you a black and white yes or no. There's a lot of gray area in there. I can tell you that if I were in the situation where I had asthma or someone around me had asthma, I would first and foremost never put anything in the diffuser before smell testing it. So that is to say, take a bottle of oil. Yeah, got a million around. Take any bottle of oil, open it up first, and just let the person with asthma take a gentle whiff or smell of that oil, and then see what happens. And have your inhaler nearby, just in case. I have never seen or heard of, essential oils really inducing asthma attacks, but I think that kind of comes along too with the quality of oil you're using, how much oil you're using. Start with 1 drop only and then see how that goes. I have heard lots of stories of people using essential oils to strengthen their respiratory systems. Eucalyptus oils, there's a few blends that I know Young Living makes called Raven and RC that are good for that. And if you're in that situation, I'll refer back again to the oil-testimonials website to look up what has worked for other people as well. Tea tree and frankincense are really supportive of the respiratory system. I love using those when my kids have, coughs or anything like that. Thank you. So many people have been answering each other's questions. I love this. And we've got some great tips here for hair loss and hair growth and shiny hair. One of the speakers from the summit, Dana Mott, she wrote a book about using essential oils for hair care. And she gave such amazing tips. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I do know that lavender and rosemary, and what's the third one? Peppermint, I want to say. Lavender, rosemary, and peppermint are some that I hear recommended a lot for strong hair, and even making a roller ball for putting on the the, what do you call it, receding hairlines can be really great for that. So more questions. Let's see, how many questions do we have? We've got a lot of questions here, so I can't answer them all, but I'll keep going so long as you all are here to listen. Okay. Is there a good oil for warts on hand? I'll have to refer you to oil-testimonials for that. I don't want to play doctor here. Any oils to deter ants? People have answered peppermint, cinnamon, great places to start. Eucalyptus. I like to create a spray bottle. So I'll get like a big spray bottle, fill it mostly with water, and then maybe 20 drops each. If you want a real strong solution, maybe 20 drops each of eucalyptus, peppermint, maybe some lemon just because it smells good too, and spray that around. I had one of my customers who she just had ordered her starter kit for essential oils. She emailed me and said, she just moved to Texas and there was bugs everywhere, and she was freaking out, and she thought she was going to have to move back to, I think she was from the Northwest. And then she made a spray bottle of essential oils and just started spraying them in all the corners of her house for like a week every day. And she's noticed, all the bugs have sort of gone away. So, let's see. Someone asked if there will be a recording of this webinar. Yes, there will be a recording. It is going to be a limited time recording, though. I really want to honor the people who show up live, and not have this out on the internet forever. So you'll get a window of time you can rewatch it. Someone's asking, essential oils for chemo patients or ovarian cancer. So I want to speak to the chemo patients. There are so many essential oils that I've heard uh, cancer patients just rely on so much for the side effects and the symptoms that have come along with chemotherapy. Chemotherapy so draining on the system, right? I mean, it's just a lot to deal with, and there's a lot of symptoms that can come up, nausea, fatigue. So I'd say if I had to pick one oil to always have in your back pocket, would be peppermint essential oil. I did have a two-part series on my podcast about cancer and essential oils, and talking about these kinds of things. And one of the tips that stood out for me a lot was putting peppermint oil, putting just a drop or two on a hospital mask to wear before, I think it was the chemo treatment, or some sort of treatment that really put off a very strong smell and odor that was really off-putting. And so just doing that alone and then breathing in the peppermint oil can have such a calming effect on the digestive system too. And it can help you get more energy into your body. So if I had to pick one, I would say start with peppermint, and also do some more research on frankincense essential oil, and you might find some interesting information about using frankincense around that time as well. Linda asks, is there a turmeric or cumin essential oil? I don't know. Rachel says, one of our viewers says, I know there is a turmeric essential oil for sure. I've actually never seen that. So now I'm really curious to go learn about that. I do believe there's a cumin essential oil. I don't have a ton of experience with that as well. So I apologize, not much help there. If anyone else knows the answers to these, please chime in. Okay. Which is a good brand of essential oil to get? Rashida wants to know. So most of know I'm very open about my preferred brand of choice being Young Living essential oils. That's just the brand that I love for many reasons. But I also love and respect everyone's choices of whatever brand that they use or love. Go for it. So I did write a blog post about why I love Young Living essential oils. To me, I think they're the pioneers. They've been doing this a really long time. And to me, I love the fact that they own their own farms. They're one of the only companies out there that own their own farms. So they're really in control of the growth of the plant, the harvesting of the plant, the distilling, the bottling, the everything. And I've been to many of their facilities, and I've been to some of their farms. And to me, they just really blow it out of the park as far as taking care of stewardship of the earth and really guaranteeing that their oils are high therapeutic grade oils. So that's my brand of choice. If you go to samanthaleewright.com and find I think it's the latest blog article that I wrote, because a lot of people have been asking me that question, then you can find a little bit more context around that. And Young Living does ship all around the world. They started in America, but they moved to Canada, and now they're in, I think, 50 different countries. So you can get them from pretty much anywhere. Okay. Can almond oil go rancid? Yes, all carrier nut-based oils, fatty oils can go rancid. So if you have some around for a long time, put them in the fridge. Let's see. Dawn says, I'm allergic to flowers and trees. So many formulas include them. How easy is it to substitute? Also, should I be able to use oils made from roots or leaves if I'm allergic to the flower? This is a really great question, and there's a lot of misunderstanding around there. I'll start out by saying I have a lot of allergies. I'm allergic to pretty much every grass, every pollen, every animal, dust, mold, lots of things. And I'm also the type of person that I like having fresh flowers in my home. I have a hard time with that. There's something about the fresh flowers that kind of set me off. And especially perfume, you know, you have to understand that most perfume in the world is created completely from synthetic ingredients, or at least partially from synthetic ingredients. And those have a very different effect on the body than a true essential oil, which should be 100% coming from the plants. You have to also understand that essential oils do not have the protein molecules in them. That is what most people are allergic to. So I'll say that generally speaking, most people that I've met that have allergies to, you know, citruses and they think they can't use citrus oils, or they're allergic to lavender, they tend to actually not be allergic to the essential oil. But I don't want to say that it's impossible. So I think using caution is the way to go. Doing the whiff test first, you know, make sure you have anything you need around you, depending on the severity of your, you know, allergic reactions. You know, make sure if you need an EpiPen nearby or something, you have an EpiPen or some Claritin or something nearby. Do the whiff test first, and then from there, do a patch test. Take 1 drop of essential oil, mix it with about, I'd say, a tablespoon of carrier oil. So if you have a, you know, we want to really dilute it down, put it on, you know, maybe the forearm, and then just observe, see what happens. If it turns really red or rashy, or you just don't feel right, I'd say that's a pretty safe bet that you'd want to avoid that oil. Okay. I'm getting tired. Let's see, I'm getting past some vaccine debates. That's never fun. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Is it safe to diffuse around cats? Great question. We actually, I have a private membership group for people who are part of my membership group. We just had a live webinar with a pets expert to talk about essential oils in pets, which I could talk about for 2 hours, so I won't go into too much depth. But at the end of the day, there are certain essential oils that cats are can have a toxic reaction to over time. So, long story short, cats do not process essential oils the same way that we do. And there's a certain chemical in certain essential oils that, if used in excess or used, you know, too much over time, can build up in the cat system and not give that cat a chance to detox. The cats, they can expel and detox those essential oil molecules. They just do it a lot slower than humans. And so you want to give their bodies a chance to detox. Rules of thumb: always give your cat an exit. Never diffuse an essential oil in a room where your cat is that doesn't allow the cat to leave. I think cats intuitively can feel when essential oils aren't jiving with them. So always give them a chance to leave. You can do the whiff test, whiff that essential oil in front of your cat's nose for a while, see how the cat reacts, and you know, judge from there if you feel like it's a good idea to diffuse or not. And then I have a list of essential oils to avoid in excess or to use more conservatively around cats, listed in my essential oils quick start guide, which is a free PDF download that's on my website homepage. I'll put it in the chat box for you. SamanthaLeeWright.com. Right on the homepage, there's a free downloadable essential oils quick start guide. And in the safety section there, I have a list there and a little more context around essential oils and using them around cats. And thank you again to everyone who's been answering people's questions in here. That's much appreciated. Which oils to use as a corn remover on feet as a substitute for milky foot? I have no idea. I would look that up in oil-testimonials.com. I do know personally, I love me a good tea tree foot soak. Tea tree oil, kind of like lavender oil, it's sort of a catch-all. And for some reason, I just associate tea tree oil with like funky skin stuff going on. So doing a foot soak with Epsom salts and tea tree oil, if it doesn't take care of your corns, at least it'll feel really good and be very kind of soothing and nourishing to your body. So I hope that helps. Can I mix water with lemon oil to drink? Aggie wants to know, can I mix water with lemon oil to drink, or do I need a carrier like an oil or stevia? It's sort of a preference, I think. Back when I started first ingesting essential oils, I almost always put a little dab, a little dollop of honey or maple syrup or something in my water to really mix that essential oil, because otherwise, of course, the oil is going to just float to the top of your water. But then over time, I kind of realized that if I was drinking from like a water bottle or something that I could just give a vigorous shake to before drinking, that I was fine. It kind of mixed in the water enough, and just every time I would give it a big shake and drink it. But I think ideally mixing with a little bit of honey, lemon, maybe stevia, something like that, to get that oil to mix in with the water is a great way to go. Do do. Oh, I think we're almost to the end of our questions. What are the most have essential oils for your toolbox? Well, I'd say lemon, lavender, peppermint, frankincense, thieves, which is a Young Living blend. There's another Young Living blend called Digize, which is a digestive oil I couldn't live without. And tea tree. I said frankincense. Peace and Calming, another blend, and Stress Away, another blend that couldn't live without. And then one of my favorite oils I never do without, and this again is a Young Living blend, is called Shutran. Shutran, Shutran. Oh, it's like a manly oil, and I slather it on my husband all the time, and I just want to kiss him all the time. Love it. It's like the best smelling cologne you could ever smell, and it's just wonderful. I love it. Constance says, I felt like that too until I watched the Essential Oils Summit. I'm not sure what that was referring to, but I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you. Does aloe vera act as a carrier? Sorry, I can't talk. I've lost my ability to talk. As a carrier. So aloe vera gel would act as a carrier. Aloe vera juice, maybe. I don't know. I'm not 100% on the answer to that, Aggie. So I'm going to do a little more research on that. What essential oils provide some relief for varicose veins? Someone suggested cypress. I would add in grapefruit oil to that, perhaps. Make like a sugar scrub and see how that goes. How do I know an essential oil is safe to cook with? Read the label, and if it says do not ingest, don't cook with it. Again, I use Young Living oils, and they've done something really convenient, which is they've now labeled any essential oil that's safe to ingest or safe to cook with. They'll call it a vitality oil. So like lemon vitality, peppermint vitality, any of the vitality oils, that's a telltale that it's safe to ingest. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to know your brand a little bit and read your labels. Could you repeat the name of the lady who cured herself of lupus? That would be Susan Hyde. And, there's a lot of context around that statement. You'd have to watch the whole talk that she gave on the summit, but she's a blogger, so she's got lots of stuff that she can share on her blog about that journey as well. I think her blog is called, it's either The Confident Mom or just confidentmom.com. So if you Google Confident Mom Susan Hyde, I think it'sHeid, then you should be able to find it. Is there any way that we who don't do Facebook participate? So Roland wants to know if they can participate in the upcoming 5-day reboot challenge if they're not on Facebook. Some aspects of it you can. A lot of it though you can't. So I do apologize. I talked to my team a lot about, should we do it on Facebook or not? Because I know a lot of people aren't on Facebook. For this go round, we're going to do this through Facebook. I do have a much bigger, really exciting project down the line that I won't share too much about tonight. You'll hear more about that soon if you check your emails. And that is not going to be Facebook based. And I think you're going to really enjoy that if you're interested in that kind of information. So I'd say go ahead and register for the reboot. I mean, it's free, so you got nothing to lose. You will receive emails and text messages, and I'll talk to my team about maybe there's ways that we can share the videos as well. But long story short, you're going to miss out on a lot if you're not on Facebook. So if you want to create just like a fake Facebook account or something just to participate in the group, you could consider doing that. Denise has a great question. She says, I am considering becoming a certified aromatherapist or certified in aromatherapy. Where can I expect to be employed with this certification? Any idea of a typical salary range for this career? Long story short, I don't have personal experience in this industry, but I know a lot of certified aromatherapists, and it's sort of a carve your own path kind of a profession. In fact, I was trying to find, I have a lot of people who come to me with, specific questions of, I really want more guidance on what oils to use for what. And I talked to a certified aromatherapist who I was, trying to suss out, hey, can I refer people to you and you really help them? And sort of back to the conversation I was having earlier about, legally what we're allowed to say and not say, and, not being allowed to play doctor and that kind of thing. She's extremely limited on what she can help people with in that capacity too. However, I do know a few people who have been employed in hospitals as aromatherapists in kind of very limited capacities, mostly based around patient satisfaction. And, that's really mostly it, improving the atmosphere of essential oils. So that's kind of what I know about the subject. I will say I do love the New York Institute of Aromatic Studies as a school for learning and getting certified as an aromatherapist. There's a lot of different choices out there, and from what I've seen, I just love it. So they might be able to answer that question a little better than me if you contact them and say, hey, I'm considering taking your aromatherapy courses, but I don't know what that looks like for me, down the road. And I'm sure they'd be really happy to help you. So again, that's the New York Institute of Aromatic Studies. Martha asked, regarding dilution, what about inhalers? Should you put essential oils in a carrier oil before putting them on the wick of an inhaler? And for those unfamiliar, I don't think I have one near me, but an inhaler is like a little plastic tube with usually a cotton wick that you can add essential oils to, and then you kind of sniff it. I always feel funny sniffing them. And you can kind of inhale the essential oils that way. In that case, no, you do not need to mix it with a carrier oil. You can if you want, and that's going to prevent the oils from evaporating as quickly, but it might not be strong enough for you. So you can, but it's not necessary. A lot of people are asking if they can do the reboot challenge without using Facebook. I've answered that already. Maybe after this webinar, because we've gotten some feedback, perhaps we will add a component where you don't have to be on Facebook for that. So I'd say if that's holding you back, go ahead and register. And again, I'll talk to my team about finding maybe a different solution for that. No promises though, I'm sorry. Brenda's asking, does the reference guide from Young Living explain how to take supplements? They have, let's see, this is the small pocket reference that I use, and I actually gift this to a lot of my members if they sign up with Young Living with me as their sponsor. I love to gift this to them just so they know how to use their oils. The small version does not cover supplements. They do have a desktop version that's a little pricey, but it does go over a lot of the supplements and how to, I think they go over all the supplements and how to use them. And again, those are at lifesciencepublisher.com. Amanda asked a great question. Why do essential oil bottles sometimes have expiration dates? One is perhaps that company is required to do so, although I don't usually see expiration dates on Young Living oils, so I don't know why that would be. Another would be that they have mixed that with a carrier oil of some sort or a synthetic oil of some sort that will spoil. And unfortunately, because the regulations around essential oil manufacturing and production are so lax, that companies don't have to disclose what's actually in their bottles of essential oil. So even if you see the words 100% pure essential oil, 100% pure therapeutic grade essential oil, 100% natural, contains nothing but essential oils, those words mean nothing. There's no regulation or entity that is holding oil companies accountable for what's actually in their bottles and what they're labeling. So I'd imagine if you saw an expiration date, that might be a little bit of a red flag. I don't know if that's going to apply to every brand out there, but that would give me a little pause personally. I think we're running out of time. We've been 30 minutes of Q&A, so I'm just going to answer one more question. Oh, someone says we're looking at the chat Q&A right over my face. Well, look at that. I didn't know you could see that. Should we use glass bottles? That's a great question. So yes, anytime you're using essential oils, you want them in glass or stainless steel. So an essential oil bottle itself, if it's plastic, don't buy it. That's just a telltale red flag that that company does not care what kind of way their essential oils are being produced or manufactured. So always get a glass bottle. Preferably you're buying essential oil bottles that are protected from the sunlight by a colored glass and a label. But when you're ingesting essential oils, especially any of the citrus oils, always use glass or stainless steel, never plastic. If you're using them as like in a spray bottle for cleaning, or more short-term uses, I feel like, sometimes I'll use a plastic spray bottle. I don't have any qualms with that. Lemon oil or citrus oils can sometimes have like a leaching effect of the chemicals that are in the plastic. And so you just want to be cautious with that. So as I said, for spray bottles, I'll use plastic spray bottles, but if you don't want to use plastic spray bottles, save up your vinegar bottles, your like apple cider vinegar bottles that are glass, and the spray tops tend to fit right on top of those glass bottles. So that's a little hack for you. Okay, so I'm sorry I didn't get to all of the questions today, but hopefully a lot of you will join in on the reboot challenge as well, and there'll be a great Facebook group that we can all talk to each other more and more from there as well. So thank you all so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing more webinars. It seemed like a lot of people really were interested in this sort of format for learning. So love sharing. Thanks again for coming. And the replay for this will come out probably tomorrow. No promises. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Good night.